A great place to start is history. So you've been a financial planner, financial expert for quite some time. What happened in the GFC?
Well, look, the GFC, it was a tough time, but there were a couple of lessons that we really learnt during that time, and there was really fear and greed. We put it down to.
Yeah, fear and greed's a big one, isn't it? I mean, we always say the financial markets run on fear and greed. You know, when we're fearful, markets get sold down, and when we're greedy, we're all jumping on the stock market to push it back up again. That's the bull and the bear, fear and greed. That's where it comes through.
It.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. When we look at, when we talk about greed, in the lead up to the global financial crisis, markets, like you said, they were really, really trailing up and they were really strong. A lot of people took that as a time to really jump into the market, to take more risk than they should have been taking, and they were excited because they were going to make lots of money. But as we know the market's going to come down. That's part of that cycle. So that led on to the fear. Markets fall, people get really scared, emotion comes up, and it's natural. We're gonna be worried. We're gonna, if we don't have education, we're probably gonna sell down out of our investments and make some decisions that we might regret. And that's why I really look at it and we go, there's fear and greed that really takes control of us.
All right, so
particularly during global financial crisis.
It does. So that was the GFC. So project ourselves forward. 12 months ago, the stock market, or less, was starting to reach record heights again. The American market was going strong, the economy was going strong. And did we see those same attitudes from people? Were people piling on and taking on extra risk from a greed point of view?
Absolutely. We had lots of people come in and talking to lots of people. More new clients, more new business coming through where, they're talking about markets are really increasing. Let's get in now. Let's pull our more secure investments out and put it into the market. We certainly saw that.
And that's usually when it all crashes. That's what they say. That's when it usually crashes again. When the mums and dads are starting to jump on board, that generally signals it's a time to crash. And that's that greed, that fear of missing out, the FOMO, that the other people are doing so well, I'm not doing so well. It takes a few years to chip away, and then all of a sudden you jump on board, and that generally triggers the time when the markets go the other way. So to avoid these issues of fear and greed and getting caught up in that fear and greed track, you alluded to education there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, look, education is really the key. We learn about that a lot throughout our lives, but that's what we do here in our business at Positive Dynamics. It's all about education, because what we saw our clients, particularly, we talk about COVID-19 now, we saw the market took a big fall, and our clients were educated. We take them through a process so they know these events are going to happen. No one has a crystal ball that's going to predict, on this particular day in February, the market's going to fall 36%. But we do know markets will fall and they will rise. Would you like me to talk more about the education that we take our clients through?
No, I think so. And I think not necessarily the process. I think we've got to talk about people's emotions. Okay, so how do you address that thing where you've got the fear of missing out going on, your friends are getting far greater returns, and someone comes into you and says, I'm missing out, my friends are retiring, their super went up $100,000 last year, mine's only gone up $25,000, it's going to run out, Vanessa, I need you to take more risks. How do you handle that?
Okay, well, there's one thing that I'll normally ask them, what professional advice have your friends received? And then the answer is normally, I don't know. They just hear the good part of that story. So our step is really to look at, well, how long until retirement? If you're looking to retire in the near future, a big important thing in your life is income. Because you're going to stop work and you're no longer going to have income. We need your investments to deliver income. Now, if we have a big market crash, you're fully loaded in equities, you're earning, whatever it is, $100,000, big returns, that's great, but not when the market falls, because you've got to liquidate those investments, you've got to crystallize those losses to deliver your income.
And it's normally the worst outcome too, if people jump onto that fear stage, that they'll jump out, and as you and I have been speaking, the market was down 37% or whatever it was. That's when those sort of people will jump out and then miss out on the market rebound as well. So how do you actually say to people, hold your nerve here, the markets will turn.
Yeah, so it's part of that education. So we give them the education first of all. We tell them what the markets are going to do. Then we set up their portfolios. We really look at their asset allocation, look at percentages. It's in cash, it's in fixed interest, it's in Australian shares, international shares, and we'll build a portfolio that when the markets do fall, they're not going to fall to the same level. They're not going to fall that 37% that the Australian share market fell. They'll have a little dip, but it's going to quickly recover also. I think that's the important point to make.
And look, I think you've got to have that fallback position. Like the way I overcome fear of financial failure is, well, I never plan on stopping working. You know, I love my job. I'm going to keep working to the day I die and earning income. So what happens to those investments in between now and then doesn't really matter. The other way I overcome financial fear is a lot of my investments are invested in what I want to do in retirement. So I've built up a farming portfolio. So if those farms don't outperform the market over the next 20 years, it doesn't matter. I will go down and manage my farms in retirement. So I'm not going to be triggered into rapidly selling or changing investment strategy when you're already online with your investment story. And that's what I really feel most fears are triggered by not knowing your story. What is your story? What are you investing in? Why are you investing in that? Why not continue to think about earning income for the rest of your life? And if we can start to educate people, then they're going to make better decisions.
Absolutely, and that's why it all comes down to education. And everyone's plan is going to be different. You know, your plan's in farming, and you don't plan to stop work. But other people, you know, they've got a different journey. It could be, you know, residential property that might form a big part of their strategy. But whatever it is, you don't want to be triggered by fear, and that lead to a sale when the market's fallen.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a question because I ask every guest a question, the same one. Vanessa Jansen, Positive Dynamics, what are you scared of?
Oh, what am I scared of? That's a great question. Look, I'm scared. You know, in business, we lead people. That's what we do. We lead them to make smart decisions. And you know, I'm to be the expert. Our team is to be the expert, and that's, you know, there's a lot of fear that comes with that responsibility.
Yeah, and how do you cope with that? Like I carry that as an advisor myself, that, you know, we feel the emotions more than anyone else because we're not only worried about our own story, we're worried about our clients around us. So when you're carrying that, how do you deal with that? Have you got a team that you work with, a beautiful husband, or you lean on, or what? How do you cope with that fear?
Yeah. Well, it's all of that circle. So it's your family. I mean, my husband, he's an amazing support. We run the business together. We both have different roles, and that's really important because what he does is you know, looks after the investments, has a look at what's happening in the world, and I'll more mentor advisors and talk to clients. It's good to have that. It's really important to have that team where you're all on the same page. We also have a great team in our business, and, you know, we believe we're all like family. We spend so much time together. If we really get on well, we really do care about each other, we're going to have better results for our clients. And our clients, it's like our own money, but it carries more of a weight.
Yeah, look, I think that's huge. You know, at the end of the day, you should never ever think on your own, because you know, you've got to remember, we are emotional beings. You know, some days our emotions are up and down. You know, life is not meant to be a flat line. It will be up and down, and sometimes having a can of Coke will affect that as well, or a wine, or whatever it might be. So if you're starting to rely on your own thinking, it's always going to be affected by your own emotions and so many other factors around it, that we need to lean back onto our partners. My wife's a pillar of strength as well. And know that it's not just you making these decisions, that you're getting some... I've got a board of directors that help me out, you know, from a point of view of keeping me on track. So otherwise we'd be in all sorts of trouble. And I was going to say that also. We have a number of experts that sit in our, you know, that contract into our business that we don't have to bring in, but we choose to bring in because their knowledge of wealth is extremely important to the outcomes. You know, for example, we have someone that helps us with our compliance, and he's an ex-FOS lawyer. So, you know, he's dealing with ASIC, and he knows what's, you know, right and wrong, and we make sure every single time, not only are we doing the client's best interest, but we're you know, keeping up with what's needed. All right. Well, I think you've made some excellent points, Vanessa. I really do. You know, from a point of view that, you know, I think our number one key point that we're both trying to get across here is financial markets come and go over a long period of time. make sure you're not making that decision that's affected by one day, that you're taking a longer term view, but you're getting advice from either a team of advisors, your partner. Never rely on yourself, rely on others, because you can't make sound judgment on your own, and don't act too fast. Is that fair?
That's fair, absolutely.
All right,
And
now,
I think an expert in their field.
all right, we'll give a plug for your business, because you're obviously doing very well. How do we find you?
Okay, so I'm Vanessa Jansen, as you mentioned there, and you can find us online at www.positivedynamics.com.au. We also have a Facebook page, which is a little bit more friendly. But if you have a look on our website, you'll find Google reviews where our clients comment about us, and you'll find some great videos and some education tools that might help you in your journey.
All right, well done, and thanks for your time. And as I always remind people, and which you're clearly doing as well, if you want to elevate yourself, elevate others. Vanessa Jansen is certainly helping other people elevate themselves, and in the same process, she's elevating. So thanks for your time, Vanessa.
Thank you, Dr. Steve.